Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Could I get a glass of water, please? So today I've been asked to talk on the topic of living the Bhagavad Gita. Living the Bhagavad Gita. Very nice topic, actually. You know, in the world today, there's a big industry called life coaching. Multi-billion-dollar business, life coaching. And so many people writing books on how to succeed in life, how to be successful. And also how to develop the practice of certain things. So how-to books are very common, whatever the subject may be. How to become expert in that practice is a big business, big business. So the ultimate how-to book is Bhagavad Gita. How to achieve the goal of life. How to, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. How to, ultimately, as Prabhupada says, how to go back to Godhead. How to become happy and how to go back to Godhead. Back home, back to Godhead. So it's a how-to book. So how to living the Bhagavad Gita. How to live your life according to the know-how that Krishna gives you in the Bhagavad Gita. So it's based upon very important fundamental principles. And it's a very important point to understand about how Krishna begins his instruction to Arjuna, to lay down a foundation of knowledge, a platform of knowledge, upon which we can then act. You have to have information. You have to have instruction. Interesting words. Information, instruction. The root of both words is form and structure. Information and instruction is subject matter for the mind and the intelligence. You have to have some kind of framework within which you can think and make decisions, in which you can set goals and then set strategies to reach those goals. You have to have information. You have to have instruction. So the very important basic information that Krishna gives to Arjuna is that we are spiritual beings. We are not products of matter. Well, where are you going to get that information in any other how-to book? How to achieve anything? And what's the significance of that? The significance is that's the truth. It's not a belief, whether you believe it or not. Truth is truth, whether you believe it or don't believe it. Information about the absolute truth is available from authoritative sources. And what has been lost in the world today is that the most authoritative source is Krishna. And that is because we're in illusion in this world. We're in illusion. We're in forgetfulness of Krishna. Krishna makes a very powerful statement in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where he says, Vedaham samatitani vatamanani chajuna bhavishyani chabhutani mamtu vedana. Mamtu vedana kasyana. I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is going on in the present, and everything that is yet to come. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know every living entity, but in this world, me, no one knows. This world is full of forgetfulness of Krishna. Everything that goes on in this world goes on in forgetfulness of Krishna. But again, in Bhagavad Gita, we learn from Krishna, Mata parataram nanyat kinchirastiranajaya mai savamikam proktam sutre maniganariva. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Now, these are statements of fact. Krishna is not a fictitious creation. Krishna is not a figment of somebody's imagination. Krishna exists, and Krishna is who he says he is. And the first piece of information that he gives Arjuna is that, Arjuna, you're identical with me. Your identity actually means the same. I identify with myself. I identify myself with you because in some sense we are the same. So the first thing that Krishna makes very clear to Arjuna, and he does it very humbly, he doesn't present himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead straight away. If you come to Bhagavad Gita and you're not familiar with who Krishna is, he doesn't immediately declare to you who he is. He says, you and I, we're the same. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. We're all the same. We can all identify ourselves with that. What is that? We are eternal individuals. We are eternal individuals. Very important foundation of knowledge. And then Krishna goes on and says, you're passing in this body from childhood to youth to old age, and you'll pass into another body at death. If you become self-realizing, this change won't bewilder you. So, to live the Bhagavad Gita means to begin to live one's life on this principle, that I am an eternal living being. I am not this material body. I am not this material mind. I am an eternal living being. And through the education that Krishna gives us, through the practice of bhakti yoga, he makes a statement, a very powerful statement in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the three modes of material nature, detailed information about the three modes of material nature. And earlier on, in the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Trivi gunamayi bhavaye evi sarvamidam jagat mohitam navijanati mame vyaparamarjaya. That I am above, the whole world does not know me, who am above these modes and inexhaustible. Everyone in the material world is under the illusions created by being controlled by the three modes of material nature. Fast forward again to the 14th chapter, Krishna says, Mamchayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sadhunan samati chaitan brahma bhuya yakalpate. That one who practices bhakti yoga becomes fixed in bhakti yoga and does not fall down from the platform of bhakti yoga. He immediately transcends the influence of the three modes of material nature and comes to the platform of Brahman in full realization. Realization, very interesting. Self-realization. I think I talked about this last week a little bit. The idea of that eyes at the end of an English word, eyes. Yeah, I talked about that. Like this building. We're modernizing. So to modernize something means it's outdated and it has to be brought into the present. Modernize. So if we talk about the realization of yourself, it means to bring the conception of yourself from the unreal to the real. Gradually to come out of illusion into real understanding of oneself. Come to the real platform of one's existence. And this is what Bhagavad Gita does. This is what Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita give us the tools by which we can do that. Whatever you do, what is it? Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat karosi tadasi yat tapasya sikuntaya tat kurushva madhapana. Whatever you do, whatever austerity you perform, whatever you give away in charity, whatever you eat, do it all as an offering to me. This is a way of living. This is a way of living. Engage your mind in thinking of me. Bow down before me. Become my devotee. Offer your homage unto me. These are practical things that we can do to become Krishna conscious. Conscious of Krishna. Prabhupada was asked one time, what is the purpose of your International Society for Krishna Consciousness? He said, that is very simple. It is to cultivate knowledge of Krishna, consciousness of Krishna. Krishna is all pervasive, but we're not aware of that. We're not conscious of that. And everything depends on Krishna, but we're not conscious of that. Everything depends on Krishna in terms of supply and determination of how things will happen. But in both ways, everything is completely dependent upon Krishna. But we're not conscious of that anymore. We're not conscious of that. So therefore, with polluted consciousness, we think that we can become the masters of this world. But we are under the control of this energy of the world. This material energy is very, very powerful. Inconceivably powerful. And we are under its control. Time is passing. Death is coming. There's nothing we can do about that. But the soul will pass into another body at death. Guaranteed. This is a fact. This is knowledge. Reincarnation, transmigration of the soul. Again, it's not a theory. It's a fact. Childhood, youth, old age. Some of us, we've all been through childhood. Some of us are still in childhood. Some of us are in old age now. But we can all understand I had a past, and now I'm in the future. It's a strange phenomenon. This present moment is the future of the past, but it's simultaneously the past of the future. And wherever you are in the spectrum of life, you have a past, you have a future. And if you accept and act on the principle that you are an eternal being, that you have never taken birth and you will never die, then you can understand, then, right now, we are entangled in the repetition of birth and death. So there is life after death. There was life before birth, there will be life after death. But we have to go beyond birth and death. We have to go beyond birth and death. And in our conception of ourselves, before we literally go beyond birth and death, we have to, within our consciousness, go beyond the concept that I've been born and that I will die. This pertains purely to the body. So Krishna's giving us tools that we can apply, rules that we can follow, that lead us in a particular direction. And this is what it means to live the Bhagavad Gita. To take Krishna at his word. That what Krishna is saying to us, step by step, through the Bhagavad Gita, is leading us to a very important conclusion about ourselves and about life. Of course, if you don't want to know anything, this is never revealed to you. You have to be on a quest, actually. You have to be on a quest in your life. You have to have an understanding that this situation that I'm in is very unsatisfactory. I can never be satisfied in the situation I'm in this temporary world. And once I become convinced that I'm not temporary and that there is a realm of existence beyond the temporary, then I can start to take these tangible steps. I can understand I'm on a journey through time. And Krishna makes it clear, you're going to go somewhere. And then he explains, you could go to the planets of the demigods. You could go to the planets of your forefathers. You could go to the planets of the Buddhas and the Pretas. You could go to the hellish planets. You can stay on this planet. You can enter into the lower species of life and go around the wheel of samsara again and again and again. Or, he says, Mam Upekya, you can come to me if you want to. If you want to. Hello. Hare Krishna, come in. Come on. If you want to. It's all based upon wanting something. Everybody wants something. So it begins with a little faith. You have to put faith somewhere. People accuse us sometimes of, you just have blind faith. That's just your belief. You just have blind faith. But there's the other side of that. You can have blind doubt. You can just doubt everything and what everybody says. How do I know? How do I know if it's true? Actually, I was just talking to one man recently in San Francisco on a podcast program. And he suddenly, I was talking like this, and he suddenly just jumped up and said, how do you know? How can you know anything this is true? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? And I said, well, you have to put your faith somewhere and act on it. Yes, but how do I know? How do I know where to put my faith? Well, I said to him, you You take so many things for granted and put your faith in them because of experience. Like in America, everybody drives on the right-hand side of the road. Here they drive on the left. But you go out in your car in the morning, you have implicit faith that everybody's driving on the left-hand side of the road. You just take it for granted. You have faith in that. The people in good faith will do that. So faith is something we have all the time. We're putting our faith in so many things. We put our faith in the insurance companies that we give our money to. We put our faith in the medical system. We put our faith in so many things. So, and we're taught to respect those things. The difficulty is, we're not educated properly anymore. We're schooled, but we're not educated. And Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, educates us. Eduke comes from the Latin. Eduke means to lead out. He leads us out of a fundamental ignorance about who and what we are. And if we take that on faith and act on it, So Krishna says, you surrender to me. You surrender to me. And I will deliver you from all of your sinful reactions. I will deliver you from your entanglement in the material world. And in the 12th chapter he says, and I will become the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Prabhupada in the purport there says, you don't have to become very experienced in anything in order for this to happen. You put your faith in Krishna and act on Krishna's instructions. And instructions boil down to a few very simple things. I've already mentioned them. Whatever you do, you do it for me. You offer the results of your activities to me. You offer everything that you eat to me. You engage your mind in thinking of me. You bow down before me. Well, how do I know that's true? How do I know that will work? Well, don't worry about whether it works or not. You just take it on faith and do something for Krishna. Give something to Krishna. And Krishna reciprocates with you. It's personal. It's personal. It's very important to understand Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue. It's not that Krishna is giving a speech to everybody on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. There were millions of people there. But Krishna spoke specifically to Arjuna. He spoke specifically to one person. And it's explained that, I think I mentioned this last week as well, but it's worth repeating. There's a concept in ancient culture that the mother-in-law instructs the daughter-in-law by instructing the daughter. All the daughter-in-law has to do is be present to that instruction. And this is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who picks up Bhagavad Gita to read it seriously becomes like the daughter. Arjuna is, and again the concept is there in English literature. English morality plays had a character called Everyman. I mean, every man, any man. You, me, anyone. The common man. And Arjuna's position, or that he's put into, is that he's the common man. He's the common man who is perplexed by the complexities of the material world, not knowing what to do anymore. Making so many plans, holding so many principles, like Krishna says to Arjuna. First thing he says, when he begins his instruction, is, while speaking learned words, and if you read what Arjuna is saying in response to what he's witnessing on that battlefield, it's all from Veda. It's all from Upanishads. And Krishna says, yes, while speaking learning words, you're missing a fundamental point here. You're missing the fundamental point that none of these people are the bodies that you see. So we learn this without being harangued, without being forced to do anything. We just witness it. You read very carefully what Arjuna is hearing from Krishna, and you apply it in your life. And Krishna, who's within the heart of every living entity, is totally aware of you. The very important thing is to understand that we've lost our consciousness of Krishna, but Krishna has never lost his consciousness of us. Very important point to understand. Krishna is the witness to everything. And therefore, he says to Arjuna, you surrender to the super soul utterly, completely. You might not be able to do that. You might not be able to do that immediately in your external life, but you can do it in your heart. You can surrender to Krishna completely within your heart. Krishna is known as Bhagavat Janada. He takes notice of only what's in the core of your heart. In Mahabharata, at one point, Bhishma is talking about Krishna. And he says, no one knows this material energy like Krishna. Why? Because this is my energy, Krishna says. This is my energy. Umirapo nalovai yukang mano buddharevacha ahankara etiyang me vina prakritya ashtaka. This earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Krishna knows this material energy, and he knows what this material energy can do like nobody else. And because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Almighty Personality of Godhead, no one has the wherewithal that Krishna has to help you deal with it. And finally, no one has the compassion that Krishna has. So he's Bhava Grahi Janada. He sees what's in the core of your heart, even though you may be bound up by the gunas, the ropes of material nature. Prabhupada uses this phrase several times in his books, but a very significant time that he does use it is in regard to Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj is in a position where he's bound up and he cannot express what's in his heart. First of all, when Vamana Dev appears in his court, he's bound up by Sukracharya, spiritual master's instruction. He says, this is Vishnu, don't give him anything. But he does it all the same, and then he's forced to surrender completely to Krishna, forced to surrender to Vamana Dev. And then he's humiliated completely. He's bound up by snake ropes so that he can't even move. And he says, all I could see was the lotus feet, your lotus feet. Vamana Dev at this point was sitting on the throne of Indra, and Bali could only see the Lord's lotus feet. And from within the core of his heart, he offered his prostrated obeisances to the lotus feet of the Lord and surrendered himself. because he had nothing else. Actually, he's an example of Atmaniveda. Lord Vamana takes one step and covers half the universe, takes a second step and covers the other half of the universe, and he's asked for only 3 paces of land. And so then he says, where shall I put my third step? And Vali says, you put it on my head. Because within the core of his heart, he surrenders to Krishna. And we can all do that. We can all do that. I might not be able to manifest that I am a completely surrendered soul. I may be bound up in so many ways still. But everything starts from the inside out. Actually, there's a very interesting best-selling mundane book called Atomic Habits. And this man talks about how if you want to change your habits, it starts in little ways. Little ways. But he says the first step has to be in your heart. It's no use going for the externals. Like you want to become fit, so you go and buy an outfit that you'd wear in the gym. Well, that's just external. What there has to be is the development of some other habit. And the resolution to do something about that has to start within your heart. You have to want to do it. You have to want to do it. Formalities come later. Actually, Srila Prabhupada says that, if you read in Lilamrita, the night he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he said, that night I accepted him as my spiritual master. Not officially, but in my heart. In my heart. So the Lord is there within the heart. He's the constant companion. He's the well-wishing friend. And you can take a reference here from Bhagavad Gita. Read the verse 5:15 and the purport. Prabhupada makes it lucidly clear there of how Super Soul is our constant companion. We are desiring things. He is present within our heart, and Prabhupada explains he can understand the desire of every living entity just as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Krishna knows everything we want. So when he sees, and we're going to start this tomorrow actually in our Bhagavatam classes, chapter 3 of Canto 2, pure devotional service, the change in the heart. The change in the heart. So there has to be a change. There has to be a decision. One has to make a decision. Decision means, in Latin, Caesarea. Caesar. Caesarea. Julius Caesar was born by cesarean section. Caesar, that's short, cesarean. And that comes from scission, to cut. So a decision is to cut off from all other options and choose one option. So we have to make a decision. Oh, I've been doing something in little groups with devotees over the last week that I think we'll do it here now, if you agree with me. If you don't have to do it, it's always optional. It's always, you're free to do whatever you want. So in the Madhya Lila, in the 22nd chapter, which is called the process of devotional service, Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sanatana Goswami. And he picks up instructing Sanatana Goswami where he ended up instructing Arjuna. There's no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna appearing before us to teach us how to perform devotional service, how to surrender to Krishna. So it's very relevant here in terms of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna establishes that we're all eternal living beings. But with Sanatana Goswami bows down to Lord Chaitanya and says, everybody says I'm a learned man, that I'm a greatly learned man. But to tell you the truth, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. And Lord Chaitanya's response is, you, like all others, are the eternal servant of Krishna. Your problem is you've forgotten this. So then he goes on in this chapter. There are several chapters of instruction to Sanatana Goswami. And in verses 33 and 34, he brings it down to a very simple understanding. I'll just read that to you. In verse 33, Lord Chaitanya says, one is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya if he seriously and sincerely says, my dear Lord, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. Then he quotes a verse from Ramayana. And again, we understand there is no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Ram. We've all seen the Satbuj. Lord Ram's arms with the bow and the arrow, Krishna's arms with the flute, Lord Chaitanya's arms with the danda and the kamanda. So, he says, and this is what Lord Ram says in response to some criticism of how he was giving shelter to Vibhishan. Because Vibhishan is Ravan's brother, so why are you being so kind to him? And Lord Ram says, it is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So, we can do a little exercise in a minute where if you want to, you can repeat this. But if you don't want to do it here, publicly, my recommendation is you find these two verses. Madhya Lila chapter 22, verses 33 and 34. And you all have little altars in your home? Yes? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
So you sit down, if you, as well as if you do it here, or you do it at home. You sit down and you say this to the Lord from your heart. So if you want to do it now, you can repeat after me. Close your eyes. My dear Lord Krishna,
My dear Lord Krishna,
although I have forgotten you
although I have forgotten you
for so many long years
for so many long years
in the material world,
in the material world,
today I am surrendering unto you.
today I am surrendering unto you.
I am your sincere and serious servant.
I am your sincere and serious servant.
Please engage me in your service.
Please engage me in your service.
My dear Lord,
My dear Lord,
from this day,
from this day,
I am yours.
I am yours.
And you pray for courage. And Krishna will reciprocate. It doesn't matter how faulty your practice may be. And no matter how perfect you think it may be, Krishna makes the point in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that every endeavor in this material world is covered with a fault. So don't worry about whether it's all or nothing. Just put progress over perfection. Take this, seriously take this step in your heart, and you will make progress, and Krishna will reciprocate. Krishna consciousness is not like sitting for a GSE exam. It's not like having to satisfy somebody to get your master's degree. It's not like that. It's not like, there's the slippery pole, now you climb it. And if you can climb it better than this one, then you get the job and he doesn't. But Krishna is open for anyone and everyone. And indeed, material qualifications and material education and training can get in your way. Beautiful story of I'll just finish with this. Beautiful story of the illiterate Brahmin from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya is traveling in southern India and he visits one particular temple. And in that temple there are many Brahmins, many Paka Brahmins doing all the rituals and ceremonies and so forth. And there's one Brahmin there, and he's an illiterate person. And he's been instructed by his spiritual master to chant all 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita every day. But he can't read. So he's turning the pages of the Gita, and he's making some noises, and he's closing his eyes, and he becomes ecstatic, and then he turns the pages again, and all the Brahmins are making fun of him. Oh, so what are you reading today, Brahmin? But he gets the attention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approaches him and says, so Brahmin, what are you doing? And Lord, and the Brahmin can understand this person hasn't come to tease me. He's serious. He's asking me what. So he explains his situation to him. He says, I'm supposed to chant this every day, but I'm illiterate. But still I try to do something. And Lord Chaitanya says, yes, but he says, sometimes I see you're crying. Why is that? And Brahma says, well, sir, sometimes when I hold this book in my hands and I close my eyes, this image comes before me of Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna. And he said, and I think how wonderful is my Lord, that he has become the servant of his servant. You can listen to Srila Prabhupada tell this story, and he says it with such emotion. And when it gets to that point, he said, Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, your reading of Bhagavad Gita is perfect. You just have to catch on to this essence. And the essence of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. And the essence of bhakti is love. The whole of Bhagavad Gita, it's a song. We're going to chant this song tomorrow. It's a love song. It's a song about love. It's a song about the eternal platform of love, of loving relationship between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. So there's a life. There's a life. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
I had a question, Prabhuji. It was like, how were you inspired to become a devotee, and how did you meet Srila Prabhupada?
Oh, that's another subject. That's a long story. I met Srila Prabhupada when I bought a Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1 Part 1 and I read the preface and I became totally changed. My life changed at that moment. I met Srila Prabhupada in his books. Later on, I was fortunate enough to personally meet Prabhupada and have some exchange with him. But the point I'm making, actually, not every single devotee, not every single disciple of Srila Prabhupada met Srila Prabhupada personally or had any personal one-to-one exchange with him. All of us, as his direct disciples or disciples of his disciples, and then further on, it'll go on, disciples of the disciples of his disciples, and on for generations. The time difference will grow greater and greater between the time that Srila Prabhupada was physically among us and the time that he's gone. But the basic relationship with Srila Prabhupada is the same for all of us. He lives by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. You want to meet Srila Prabhupada, then you hear Srila Prabhupada. Listen to Srila Prabhupada's lectures, read Srila Prabhupada's books, and pretty soon you will have a very distinct understanding that you're in the presence of Srila Prabhupada and that he is aware of you. When Srila Prabhupada was here, he never visited every single temple. He would go to a few temples, and devotees from other temples would come there. And they would see him. They'd see him come out of his quarters to go on his morning walk. They'd see him come back and circumambulate the temple, then greet the deities, then go and sit on the Vyasasana and take Guru Puja. And then he would give the Srimad Bhagavatam and they would hear him. Then they'd see him leave the temple and go to his quarters. And sometimes they would go and sit in darshan with him. But the primary connection was through hearing him. And a relationship develops. It's a spiritual relationship. It's not like you become the fan of some material celebrity and you have an unrequited relationship of love with that person. You open yourself up to hearing Srila Prabhupada, and pretty soon you'll understand that you have a heart connection with Srila Prabhupada. Yes? Thank you. So we have a few minutes left. Any other? Yes, sir.
So, you given an example of the insurance company. You know, the insurance company pays if somebody in terms of against the claim, and also. So I think in terms of surrendering, that you gave an example. How do we have a trust in the insurance company? Even the aeroplane, the pilot, like hundreds of the people's lives in the hand of the pilot, right? And we just have trust him, and we just, So in today's perspective, even though I don't have any doubt, but it's just I'm just asking this question. Maybe the people might ask this question because we have seen the things happening in today's world. We have seen the insurance company, how the insurance company pay the claim. We have seen the pilots. We do travel a lot, and we have seen we can travel from one place to another place. So we have seen the fact. We have seen the proof. So in terms of if somebody asks the question, if I'm gonna surrender to Krishna,
what guarantee can you give me?
Exactly, yeah. So that's what I think people might ask this question, right?
Yeah.
So
what guarantee can you give me?
Yeah, because
Well, everything in life you have to take a leap of faith. You have to take a step of faith. So, you take like a recipe book. Yes?
Sorry?
You take like a recipe book.
Okay,
for
okay,
cooking.
yes.
And in the recipe book, there's instructions of how to prepare it or something. So if you follow the instructions, and there's the cake. Yes?
Yes.
So you don't have to do that many times with many recipes out of the book for you to have faith that these recipes work. Yes? But you have to take a step of doing something. So the point is, Yegatamam prapadyante tanstataiva bhajami aham, Krishna says. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So you take one step of surrender towards Krishna, and pretty soon you'll see, oh, Krishna's taking many steps towards me now. Krishna reciprocates. But he will not reciprocate with you if you don't give something to him. If you don't approach him, he'll leave you be. You want to ignore Krishna? That's your choice. You want to take notice of Krishna, Krishna will respond to you. You want to ignore Krishna, then he'll be out of your vision for eternity. So another example Prabhupada used to say is, you have to take a risk. Life is a gamble, yes? You're taking a gamble. So where's the loss if you place a bet on Krishna? Have a bet on Krishna. See what happens. You've got nothing to lose. But you've got everything to gain. Everything Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in terms of regaining your lost eternal position in your relationship with Krishna, in your eternal relationship with Krishna, everything he says about that is true. But it depends upon what you want to do and what you're prepared to do. So Krishna says you surrender to me. Do it and see. And that's why we have a society of devotees. That's why we have Sangha. Because just again, like in any subject, anything you want to learn, and it's a little risky, and you talk to somebody who's experienced, isn't it? You approach somebody who has some experience that you don't have. And that's why we have an association of devotees. And that's why we preach. Devotees who are convinced by experience can preach, can say, this is true. And you can take courage from that. You can take encouragement from that. And take a step towards Krishna. Yes? Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you all so much. Lovely to be back here again. Some faces are very familiar now. Some are not so familiar, but that's good. New people are coming. Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
You're going to sing again? Huh? Oh, and then.
Hare Krishna. Before we begin the Aarti, we have a few announcements. So, Let's put quick Hari Bol together for today's cook. Say Grace Rajlakshmi Mataji, His Grace Sakirai Prabhu, Ashish Prabhu, Omita Mataji, Vishwanath Prabhu, and Krishna Lavya Mataji. Jai Transcendental Cook's Ki. And also the cleaners, Javanagni Prabhu, Ashish Prabhu, Chirag Prabhu, and Amarendra Prabhu. So as Prabhu mentioned, tomorrow is we are celebrating Gita Jayanti. So from 1 o'clock onwards, we will begin the program and the recitation of all 700 verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It's very purifying to hear the transcendental sound that Lord Krishna himself spoke. And if you can austere enough to sit through whole 700 verses, you will feel enormous bliss at the end of it. So this is once a year. Many devotees actually I know recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita every day, all 700 verses. But this is one occasion we can count. And also on Thursday evening, from 5 o'clock onwards, we'll be celebrating His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj's Vyasa Puja over here. So please come for that. That will culminate in Aarti of Maharaj and Grand Feast. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Also, there are some sponsorship opportunities for Gita Jayanti tomorrow. Decoration $501, fees $1,001, and you can sponsor a set of Bhagavad Gita for $144. Please, see Rahul Prabhu for those opportunities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya Gaura Jaya Gaura